You actually did not start with the Dolphins. You spent your first 2 years in San Diego chasing the Raiders and the Chiefs in the AFL West, and then the trade to the Dolphins occurred before the '69 season. I guess your initial reactions were negative about that, but when Don Shula showed up the next year, things changed.
Yeah, it was because at the time Miami was an expansion team, and although we didn't win the championship in San Diego, we were a pretty good football team. And going from San Diego, although Miami was home too, I was getting ready to make my home in San Diego when I was traded to back home to Miami.
Now, the '72 team was undefeated, of course, but it wasn't a cakewalk. There were several close games in the regular season, one of which pops up into my mind against Minnesota. And then the playoffs were also a tough deal as well. Against Cleveland, you were down by one midway through the fourth quarter, came back to win the game, obviously, and then in the AFC Championship game, Greasy came off the bench after being injured most of the season, led the team to 2 touchdowns in the second half, and you prevailed over Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh. Were there any doubts creeping in among you or your teammates during those two playoff games? Was there any thought that, oh my, it's slipping away?
No, because going into the season, we our goal was to get back to the Super Bowl, and it wasn't about going undefeated. But we just so happened we did go undefeated. But we also had a very close game with Buffalo too. We barely beat Buffalo by 1 point.
Yes.
So it wasn't easy for us to get there. That's why I think, and a lot of other guys say that although we lost 2 games in '73, that we were a better team in 1973 than we were in 1972 because we blew out more teams in '73 than we did in '72. And in the playoffs, we walked right through the playoffs also.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the way. But I wasn't thinking about going undefeated. We were thinking about going back, getting back to the Super Bowl and winning it. That was our goal.
And in the Super Bowl itself, you were well in control of the game against Washington until that play by Garo Yepremian. But the Dolphins' defense held for the final 2 minutes, and you won the game, obviously. Did you feel a sense of redemption after that game, having won the Super Bowl after falling short the previous year?
Oh, no doubt about it. Because like I said earlier, that was our goal to get back to the Super Bowl and win it. So that was our mindset going into the season. And it was redemption because we had lost the year before.
What did Coach Shula mean to that team and to your career in particular, Larry? What did he add to your career to make you a better football player?
Well, he happens to be the kind of coach that that could get the most out of your ability. Not only him, but me being an offensive lineman, Monty Clark also. Monty brought the best out of me, and so did Coach Shula.
After you played football, Larry, you coached collegiately for a while at your alma mater, Bethune-Cookman. What was the biggest difference to you between playing and coaching?
Well, when I was playing at with the Dolphins, I was one of the captains, and I flew first class on trips. When I began coaching at Bethune Cookman, we rode the bus on trips. So that was the biggest difference for me. We rode the bus for like 16 hours sometimes, going to from Daytona Beach to Washington, Daytona Beach to Delaware, Daytona Beach to Grambling, Louisiana. I mean, that was the biggest difference. But playing, you only had to be concerned about yourself. And coaching, you had to be in control and think about 75 to 80 other guys and with different personalities.
Getting back to the '72 Dolphins, Nobody has done thus far what your team did, Larry. The Patriots a few years ago came close, but they fell short in the Super Bowl. And I wanted to get your opinion, your take on this. My thought is that since the NFL expanded from 14 games to 16 games and now to 17 games, I think it makes it much more difficult for a prospect of an undefeated team going through. Plus, you've added games in the playoffs, so there are probably going to be more games a team has to win in the playoffs to achieve what you folks achieved. Are you thinking that probably what you did will be, at least in our lifetimes, I'm in my mid 60s and you're in your late 70s, do you think that in our lifetimes anybody is going to do what you folks did back in 72?
That's hard to say because you never know what could happen. But if if someone does go undefeated, they won't be surpassing us anyway. They'll just be joining us with a zero under the L column.
That's correct, because being undefeated the first time, nobody else can match that. Larry, thank you very much for your time. I sure appreciate it. And we'll see what happens for this upcoming Super Bowl. The final four teams are in it, the Chiefs and the Bengals and the Eagles and the 49ers. Any thoughts on who might come through?
Well, I'm looking at maybe Philadelphia and Cincinnati. I'm saying Cincinnati because you don't know what my home health would be like with Kansas City with that ankle.
I agree, and Cincinnati has won three straight over Kansas City as well, so maybe that's why they're a one
They
and a
might
half
be
point
on.
favorite. All right, Larry, thank you very much for your time. I sure appreciate it. All the best to you, and you
Thank
take
you.
care.
All right, you take care too. All right,
Bye
bye.
bye.